Good morning, this is Faith at Faith and Books. The very loud bird just started up. It just waits for me to start taking a video, and it starts singing right away. Anyway, good morning. I forgot to brush my hair this morning. Okay, so this is going to be quick, but I have two things to talk about before I get into the DNF tag. The first thing is I have a BookTube question for people. I made a video back in December on a rather controversial book, and I have gotten comments on it that from people who aren't in the BookTube world. I think it just shows up in some algorithm, and so people just from the internet show up and make comments. And I was kind of ignoring it because, people can make comments. It didn't bother me. But last night I got like this long ranty comment that was just a tiny bit unsettling to me because, I don't have any political clout or anything like that. I don't want to be a political, I don't want to generate controversy and have to deal with people getting angry at me. This is just a lark. This is just a fun thing to do, to talk to other book lovers, and I don't want a huge video. I don't want a big channel or anything like that. I just want to have fun discussing books. And I don't really want to attract people, strangers off the internet who come and make long, kind of not quite over the line, but close to the line, kind of verging on the personal and kind of seething with rage kind of thing. So I don't really want to deal with that. So I went through, and at first I removed certain comments, and I thought, I don't want to do this, pick and choose who I'm going to allow to comment. So I just made it private instead of public. Is that what you do? How do you handle it when you get comments that unsettle you and just you don't want to go there? I couldn't figure out how to shut off the comments, so I just made it private, and I don't quite know what private means. Does it mean only I can see it, or I don't know. So I'm just wondering, what do you do when you get unwanted comments or comments that kind of disturb you and they're kind of outside the purview of the whole purpose of your channel? So anyway, that was number one. Number two is my spin. The spin number for the Classics Club spin was 18, and number 18 on my list turned out to be the minor works of Jane Austen. This book has been sitting on my bedside table all through July, and I even took it to the beach with me and never got to it. So it looks like I am finally going to read it. So after gathering all those books, I was kind of excited about some of the other books, and I turned out to be less excited about this because I didn't realize it, but when I found out this was the book I was supposed to read, I was a little bit disappointed, but I'll get it back because I love Jane Austen. So, and I have been meaning to read this for ages. So, minor works, that's my Classics Club spin for September. And then, so let me go into the DNF tag. I've only seen one video of this. It was Bill Ruttenberg's and his daughter Crimson. And it's a really nice video. I encourage you to go watch it, and I'll link to that. I haven't watched anybody else's because I've sort of been out of the loop and trying to catch up and be more interactive in the BookTube world, but that hasn't quite happened yet. But anyway, this is the DNF tag, and I've actually talked about some of this a little bit in other tags, I think. But anyway, this has 8 prompts. Okay, do you DNF? I do, but not very often because I'm pretty picky about choosing what I'm going to read. Number 2, if you DNF a book, does it count towards books read for the month? No, that would be cheating. No. Number 3, is there a difference between DNF and just putting it down for a bit? Yes, there is. Sometimes I'll just get distracted and I'll have meant to finish a book and life just makes that impossible, and then later on I'll pick it up again. Or often if it's a book like a collection of short stories or essays or something like that, something that has discrete units that you can sort of read one section and then put it by the way for a little while and then come back to it. then I have no problems doing that. I don't feel like I'm DNFing. It's not the same attitude towards it. You're open to reading the book. It just, you haven't gotten to it yet. So let's see. What popular book have you DNF'd? So I have trouble with modern literature, or like bestsellers. I tend to not read bestsellers, but I remember a few years ago I tried this book by Madeline Miller, and I forget the name of it, but it was like a retelling of Achilles, and how do you say his name? Patroclus, from the Iliad, and it had homosexual overtones, which that wasn't the thing that bothered me, but I don't like to read sex scenes, and these weren't even good. It was very, very, I just didn't like her take on it at all. It's sort of, you couldn't imagine these people actually being warriors. The thing that really bothered me the most, I think, was the way she characterized Chiron, who was supposed to be training them to be warriors, and I just kept picturing Felix Unger's face. Like, he was this fussy kind of, type A, fussy housekeeper type. And he was training, I don't know, I feel like she just had such a lack of an imagination. And I find that with a lot of modern books, that they have sort of a very narrow, trendy sort of 21st century worldview that they sort of superimpose on things. And I feel like there's just this lack of imagination. So I don't really like bestsellers a lot, especially when they're trying to do history. I feel like they just miss the mark. And I just don't think their writing is so well. Now, I thought she wrote well. I just didn't like anything else in the book. So that was a popular book that I kept hearing people rave about, and I couldn't finish it. When it got to the point where, am I saying his name right? I'm just blanking on his name. Patroclus. Oh, it was so complicated. It was like this really dysfunctional thing going on. It got to a certain point in the book, and I was like, no, I'm not going to read this anymore. Okay, what book do you wish you had DNF'd? I don't know if I have. I mean, life's too short to keep reading a book. If you don't, there are too many other books out there. So I don't usually, that's why I'm so picky. I don't usually force myself to finish something if it's really, really bothering me. I can't think of anything. Do you ever, whoops, computer just went dark. Do you ever reattempt to read a DNF? Has this ever been successful for you? Yes, a long time ago, and I've talked about this before. I've tried to reread Moby Dick. I never finish it. I've given up on that. I've tried 3 times. I've tried 3 times to read War and Peace, or 2 times, I forget now. And I've just never gotten into it. I never get traction. So those were the not successful ones. But just recently, meaning within the last 10 years, I had started to read The Life of Samuel Johnson by Boswell, and I couldn't get through it. But I listened to it on audio, and I did, because I happened to be in a period of my life where I was driving a lot, and so whenever I got in the car, I would just listen. And I just did that for months, and it was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. And I did the same thing with the Brothers Karamazov. I had started to read that many years ago and never gotten through it. And then I listened to it on audio recently, within the last few years, and got through it that way and really, really enjoyed it. So yes, it has been, with those 2 books, it was a really great success. But it was by switching from reading to listening that it was successful. What do you do with books you DNF? I don't think I don't have a regular way of dealing with it. Sometimes they'll just sit on my shelf for years. I have other readers in the family, so somebody else might pick it up. Or if it's a library book, I just take it back to the library, or I might give it away. I don't have any specific way of dealing with it. Do you choose more or less risky titles because of your stance on DNF? Yeah, I've come to be very picky about the books that I pick. I like backlisted. I like the way they wrote in earlier eras more than the way they write now. It's very unusual for me to pick up a new book and enjoy it or really appreciate it. I just don't think they develop characters in the same way. I don't think there's the same nuance of language. I think we've switched from a, what do I want to say, a written form of communicating to more visual. And I think our ability to tell stories reflects that these writers aren't, and more people are getting published. I don't know. I feel like I think we peaked, and we're in. Maybe it'll go back up again, and maybe I'm just being really ignorant because I don't read that many modern authors, or not modern, but contemporary authors. So maybe I'm being unfair. That could be, but it just doesn't appeal to me. Okay, so. So the last one is to tag people, and I will just give a blanket tag to anybody who sees this and feels, compelled or wants to do this tag. And so I'll put all the questions below, and I'll link to Bill Ruttenberg's. I don't think he originated it. I don't know who did, but I'll just link to his. So, all right, so I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.